everyone. Good afternoon. It is Wednesday. It is lunchtime, and today we're cooking again from one of my favorite cookbooks. If you've been watching Book Cooks or following along with the recipes, you can probably tell there are some cookbooks I have that I definitely favor, that when I am not sure what I feel like cooking, I just turn to them all the time. And so one of those this week, my favorite by Michelle Tam, Ready or Not. It's one of the Nom Nom Paleo cookbooks. I love it. So we are cooking from the green section today, which is the ready section, which means, I forget, they all mean different things, all different sections. When you're ready to cook, when you have some time. There are some things that you can prep ahead, but this is one of those sections where you're like, I need to cook. I want to cook. I have the time. So these are some recipes that you can spend some time. So what we're making today is this Tex Mex beef and rice casserole. My freezer is full of ground chicken, so I'm using ground chicken instead. You can use any ground meat that you like. If you like turkey, you could do turkey. If you have beef, do beef. But I have so many things of ground chicken that I was like, let me just use chicken. That's what I got. So, also, the base of it is riced cauliflower, so if you have frozen riced cauliflower, that's fine. If you have a fresh cauliflower, which is what I had today, I had fresh cauliflower. I just pulsed it in my food processor until it looks like riced cauliflower. Did it myself. It was a mess. Getting it already done is easier. But I mean, it's better for the environment and it's cheaper to make it yourself, but whatever. This is for later. We're going to start. I have already chopped my vegetables down here. There they are. I have a red bell pepper, a garlic, and some onions that I had chopped a while ago and froze to keep the leftovers. And one of the nice things about this recipe is that it uses as one of its major flavorings salsa. So I had my favorite salsa already in my refrigerator. It's a fire roasted salsa. Let me get a measuring cup for that. We'll need that later. So we're going to start by browning the meat. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn on the heat on my stove. Need to be super high. And once that gets warm, I'll put my chicken in. So yeah, I'm really hungry and I'm looking forward to this a lot. But also I wanted to cook something healthy because we just came out of Thanksgiving and I know lots of people from the town got carousel cakes, so maybe we need to recover from the sweets a little bit. So I'm just cooking a really healthy, hearty dish. This is one of those, again, it's a paleo cookbook, so there are no grains, no dairy, no sugar involved in this, but it doesn't, like, I don't miss it. I know a lot of people think Tex-Mex and they think cheese, but there is kind of like a little secret ingredient you'll see at the end that this is more like a casserole, and there's something that we add to it that makes it feel a little creamier and richer, so you'll see, and helps hold it all together without needing dairy, and I think it's pretty cool and I'm excited to try it. That seems like it's getting warm, so I'm going to go ahead and toss this chicken in here, and we're just going to start to let it cook. Get in there. Get in there. There we go. Toss this in the trash and wash my hands. All right, and just make sure that we are breaking it up into nice small pieces. I think my chicken is still a little frozen. I mean, I took it to defrost last night, but not early enough, apparently. All right. So I'm just breaking it up. smush. So this is nice because pretty much everything happens all in one pan. Like I said, I already pre-cut all my veggies. That's no big deal. But everything happens in one pan. And then you're supposed to bake it in the oven. I'm pretty sure that these pans of mine are oven safe, but I don't think they fit in my oven. So I'm actually going to show you how you can do it on the stove. And then the texture is a little different. You'll see, I'll show you, but it's all the same. So, you know, just breaking this up. It's definitely still a little frozen in the center, but that's all right. We're just going to make sure that we heat it through completely, especially with chicken. You want to make sure you really get it cooked well. All right, we can turn up the heat a little bit. So yeah, I like a good one pan wonder kind of a thing, right? It's just so nice and easy, especially if, you know, you cooked a lot last week and you're like, I feel like I don't ever want to cook again, but you know you have to eat something fresh at some point, right? So this is just really easy. You kind of dump everything in there together. And just let it cook. So that's the thing about chicken. It definitely takes some time to cook, but we don't want it to dry out. And I think all the other ingredients in here will help keep everything nice and flavorful while still being moist. I'm gonna let that sit for a second. So the other thing that we have going on is I have in the oven right now the rest of the cauliflower because I didn't need all of this cauliflower. There was still more left over from the fresh head of cauliflower. So what I did was she has a recipe in here for roasted cauliflower. I mean, basically you can do anything with it, but she shows you how to prep a cauliflower to roast it. I did it a little differently because mine were already broken up into florets. Basically, I just covered it with salt and olive oil and I put it in the oven to roast, and it's already nice and brown. But when this is setting, when we put the lid on it and we let it finish cooking, I'll show you. She has like a really cool Dijon nutty vinaigrette in her cookbook, and I don't have most of the ingredients, but we're gonna do a little sauce inspired by her cookbook because this is my quarantine kitchen and I don't really go to the grocery store anymore. So we're gonna come up with something fun. So live on Facebook, this librarian is going to improvise a recipe. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's just, you can put anything on your roasted vegetables, right? Like, it really doesn't matter. But I kind of liked the way her recipe sounded, so I'll share with you the original recipe, but I'll tell you how I'm going to make it up and modify it. I'm just gonna make it up. Just gonna make it all up. Still have some pink in here. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit because I'm starting to get a lot of liquid from the chicken, and I just want to kind of dry it out. I want my meat to get a little browning. I want a little flavor from the browning, so I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit because I don't want my chicken to like steam in its own juices. I want it to actually brown. Right? Like, that's not what we're going for. We're not going for steamed, boiled chicken. We're going for nice browned cooked meat. Yeah, some of it's juice, some of it's from being frozen. It is what it is. But we're going to turn up that heat and get rid of that liquid. And then after that, like, we kind of just start adding everything to the pot. After that, you add your onion and bell pepper, cook until softened. Then you add your rice, cauliflower, and garlic. Let it all go. Add your salsa and seasonings, and then our special ingredient, and you just let it cook. It's really easy. So even though you're mostly making it from scratch and it's all fresh, it really doesn't take that long to do. You know, like while your meat is cooking, you can you can cut your vegetables, and the whole thing, all told, is really only going to take you like 30 to 40 minutes at most, depending on how you're cooking it. So really not that bad. All right, there we go. We're just starting to get the heat up here. I don't really see much pink, but I want to get rid of some of that liquid. I want my meat to brown, because we're going to introduce the vegetables and they let go some liquid too. Like I said, we're trying not to boil it, we're trying to brown it. I already know also what next week's recipe is, and I'm really excited for it. We'll talk about it later. I'm actually like really excited for it. It's also from another cookbook that I've done already, but not recently. Just a really good, delicious cookbook with some healthy, fresh food. I think the recipe is really creative and sounds like fun, so that's what we're gonna do. All right, I don't want to overcook this chicken, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add my onions that are already chopped. Onions and my red bell pepper. And we just want these to soften up. I love bell peppers. I was snacking on some of it earlier. I just love the way it tastes, and it's so crunchy and fresh and delicious. Give it a good stir. Ooh. And instantly you can smell the onions starting to cook and your flavor is happening. Because, I mean, let's be real, chicken doesn't have much flavor at all, right? Sorry, chicken. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to let this soften up. So my next step is going to be the garlic and the cauliflower rice. I'm going to do the garlic first, just because I want that to cook a little more, and I don't want it to get lost in the shuffle with the cauliflower rice, because raw garlic to me is like, and I know that this has plenty of cooking time, so it's not going to be totally raw, but I just want to make sure. I don't like raw garlic. Not for me. Okay. And then we need our seasonings today are oregano and chili powder, and of course salt and pepper. Keep giving this a little stir. You want to make sure that you're tossing this around so that your bell peppers and onions get equal chances to experience the heat and cooking process. And again, they'll soften even more because this is going to have some idle cooking time on the stove for a while. So everything will still continue to soften, but we just want to start the process here right now. It smells really good. I just love bell peppers. So good. All right, I'm going to toss in my garlic. Remember to be careful. Garlic does burn pretty easily. The recipe called for 3 cloves of garlic. I used 2 because they were pretty hefty sized cloves and I didn't need to go overboard. Alright, so we just want this garlic to become fragrant, softened. Again, watch out, garlic does burn pretty easily. just want everything to release its flavors. It does smell really good in here so far already, and I'm really hungry. If anybody's having anything good for lunch, feel free to let me know what it is, and if you have a recipe for it. I get really hungry. We used to joke when we were all in the library together that, like, as soon as our lunch hour hit, we'd be like, okay, it's time to go before we get hangry. Like, hangry librarians, man. We are really hungry. Alright, everything seems to be softening up nicely. And my garlic hasn't burned. But I know that it's softening up, so I'm going to add in my riced cauliflower. Oh gosh, I made a lot of riced cauliflower. Alright, let me start with that. I can have the leftovers for soup or stir fry or something. I mean, it was a really nice sized head of cauliflower that I had been pretty much saving for this occasion. Well, and for roasting, which is also what we're doing. So I'm just going to mix this in. You also want this cauliflower to soften, because remember when you make cauliflower rice fresh, it's a raw vegetable, so it does need to soften up a little bit. Ooh, look at that, it looks good. I don't need to worry about my vegetables for today, because this is chock full of it. I think sometimes I forget that when I'm making something with cauliflower rice. I'm like, oh, now what's my vegetable going to be? Hello? It's the cauliflower. Hello? Okay, we're just going to keep mixing this up, make sure everything is well incorporated. Okay, I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit. Sounds aggressive. Okay. This I'm going to put in a Tupperware and save, like I said, for probably some stir fry. Okay. Alright, we're going to do the salsa next. I learned from previous mistakes. I pre-opened this jar. It says about 1.5 cups of salsa. So, but I want to save some because I want to have tacos later this week. I've already planned it. And a little bit more. There we go. That's enough salsa for taco night later this week. Okay. Already decided. Okay. Put this in the sink. Alright, we're going to shake on some chili powder. It says about 1 tablespoon. And how much of the oregano? About 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. And we're going to go ahead and mix this all together. I'm going to add in some salt and pepper too. This is a nice thick salsa. This is nice. Use whatever salsa you want. This cookbook also has a recipe for fresh salsa, which is cool. That was not... I'm not feeling that today. Alright, here we go. I'm just making sure that everything gets really incorporated. I want all of the chicken and the cauliflower rice to get that salsa, that flavor, and the seasonings that we just added. I'm going to do some salt and pepper. That should be good. I can always add more to my individual plate later. Give it another good stir. Smells really good in here. this cook and get all friendly and flavorful, I'm going to prepare our secret ingredient, which is eggs. So what you're supposed to do is whisk up 4 eggs, and that's what makes this a casserole. That's what binds it all together, but it's also almost like a little creamy as well. So we're gonna whisk together some eggs, and we're gonna pour it right on top. And it says to take off the heat. Well, I'll wait until I whisk the eggs, because you don't want them to like overcook or scramble immediately, right? All right, so I got 1 egg. 2 eggs. 3 eggs. Last one. And we'll put these in the trash and wash my hands. I'm also going to turn off my oven because I am certain that my cauliflower is toasted. I like my roasted vegetables like way overcooked, like I like them crispy and toasted. But I know not everybody does. Personal preference. Okay, so we're going to turn off the heat for a second. I'm gonna whisk these eggs, and then we're just gonna pour them in. Gently stir to incorporate and smooth the top of the casserole with a spatula. Okay, so my eggs are whisked together, nothing fancy. And I'm just gonna go ahead and pour that right on in. Put this in the sink. Gonna give this a gentle stir to make sure everything is together and incorporated. But I don't want to, again, I'm trying not to scramble, so I'm just trying to be really gentle. Because again, this is like a binder, and it's like a little bit of creaminess, so we don't want to scramble the eggs. So you can see I'm just being very gentle in combining it. So at this point now, you also, it says in the recipe, you can get some cherry tomatoes and slice them up real thin and put them on top, and some jalapenos. I didn't have any of those things, and I didn't want to go get them, and I didn't feel that I needed it. But you can dress up the top of this casserole any way you'd like. And then what you do is you put it in the oven. I'm going to cook it stovetop, but because I want to make sure that those eggs cook on top, I'm going to go ahead and cover this and put it on probably like a medium-low heat. I'm making this part up because it's not in the cookbook. Okay, see, I'm just making this part up. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my roasty toasty cauliflower. Make sure I protect my countertop. Okay. Oh yeah, it is brown, which is exactly how I like my vegetables, like I said. Exactly how I like my vegetables. Oh, it's crispy and it's nutty, especially with vegetables can get like really nutty and nice and delicious, and I just have a deep appreciation for that. Okay, so I'm going to grab a bowl. I don't need this cookbook anymore because, like I said, now I'm just making it all up. I'm gonna grab a bowl. And so this vinaigrette is supposed to be like a nutty Dijon vinaigrette. And so the recipe is great. It's one of those recipes you can make ahead and you can put it on anything, a salad, your vegetables, whatever. And it like involves roasting hazelnuts and stuff that I am not doing. Okay. But what I do have is I have some almond butter. So I figured to get the nuttiness that's going to complement the nuttiness of my roasted vegetables. I'll tilt this down so you can see. You don't need to. I'm boring. The nuttiness of the roasted cauliflower. There we go. That's better. So the almond butter, and I also have some apple cider vinegar, some olive oil, some Dijon mustard, and some seasoning. So I have my bowl over here that you can't quite see, but it's okay. All right. So I'm going to start with my Dijon. And it's just a couple of pieces, just for me as like a little afternoon snack, so I don't need to do that much. Some olive oil. Apple cider vinegar. For a little tang. Some almond butter. Just make sure I stir it up well because it's the natural kind, so there's oil at the top and it's very dry at the bottom. Alright, we're getting there. Just a little bit, just for some nuttiness. Okay. And then some seasonings, which are dried onion flakes and garlic. Salt and pepper, of course. And parsley. Okay, so the dry flake onions, which I've not opened yet. This is the first time I'm using them. I didn't realize that. See, there we go. I broke my rule of always opening things beforehand. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna get a knife and open this. Or a scissor, really. Poke a hole. Okay. Just a little bit. And the way that she does it in the cookbook is you do it in a mason jar and you shake it up to emulsify it, and then you kind of keep your dressing in there. It's where it can live. But I'm just gonna do this, and then I'll toss my cauliflower in there to get everything combined. So parsley, fresh parsley, of course, is better for something like this, but you got what you got, right? So here we go. I'm just going to stir it up, and I'll taste it and I'll see how I feel about it and what kind of ingredients I need to add more or balance out. Like I said, I'm making this all up, totally inspired by this book, but making it up. Oh, it smells good. I think I need some more oil. Let's do some more olive oil. To make it a little looser. Okay, I'm gonna add, oh, I need to add my salt and pepper. A little bit of pepper. A little bit of salt. Just a little bit of salt. Alright, I'm going to give this a little taste. Let's see. It looks interesting. I don't know. Needs more oil. This particular Dijon mustard that I have is very strong. I want to thin it out a little bit more. And I can put the spoon back in here because I'm the only one eating it. Okay. Definitely want to thin it out a little more, so I'm going to do more oil and a little more vinegar. And a little extra garlic I think I need. But it's interesting, the almond butter tastes actually pretty good with the Dijon mustard. It's just a slight hint of nuttiness. It's very interesting. Okay, there we go. So I've loosened it up a little bit and see a big difference already. All right, I'm gonna give it another taste. Oh, that's definitely a better consistency. That's more of a dressing consistency. That's good. Okay, bring this back up so you can see me again. Okay. And I'm going to put my cauliflower in there and just give it a little toss and eat it as a snack while I'm waiting for my Tex Mex Casserole to finish baking. So then this is how I like my cauliflower or all of my veggies roasted. Very dark and crispy and crunchy. That's A+ to me. That's exactly how I like it. This is nice. The cauliflower is really crispy on the tips of the florets, but the inside is still really soft. Oh, this little crispy piece, don't get away from me. So good. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a little toss and a little taste. Probably switch to a fork. That's fine. This is obviously, if you've gathered, not a 5-star restaurant. All right, and I can see this definitely being like a delicious dressing on a salad for sure. All right, I'm gonna see how it tastes with the cauliflower. Wow. Oh my God, it's perfect for the cauliflower though. Wow. This is a good snack. This is really good. Like I said, the cauliflower, when it's roasted this dark, gets itself a little nutty. Oh my gosh, this is a good combination. Really, really good. And I mostly made it up, but I had some help from my cookbook. This is really delicious. Wow. That is A+. I will be making that again. Alright. I'm going to take a peek at my casserole. I don't know if it's going to be done. Excuse me, I still have food in my mouth. Alright. So it looks like it's almost set, the eggs. I don't know if it's going to be done for us here filming. I mean, it's 12:34, but at this point, what do I have to do but eat on camera? Which I could continue to do. It's fine. It's almost set. I'll bring the camera up close so you can see that it's how it works when it's almost done like that. Okay, here we go. So you can see there are some pockets, like around here and there, where it's just not quite done. Right, like over there. But the eggs are mostly set and done. Just not completely. All right. I always have to like motivate my tripod to not fall down. So again, this was the Ready or Not cookbook from Nom Nom Paleo. My absolute favorite. I mean, I have quite a few favorites. I was considering making these amazing, I always see them and then I'm like, I have to go to the store to get scallops. And it's just scallops in like an orange Asian inspired sauce. But I'm like, oh, do I really want to have to go to the store to get scallops? Where is it? I don't remember where it is. I don't remember what page it's on. I could use the index. Couldn't I? I am a librarian after all. Seared scallops with orange shallot sauce. Does that sound good? It sounds amazing. There we go. Oh, look at how good that looks. Yeah, I just didn't want to go get scallops. What is it? It's just scallops, black pepper, avocado oil or ghee, small shallot, some thyme, orange juice, and chives. And you just make this super, super simple sauce and you just sear those scallops in a pan and it's really simple. And I could use my leftover cauliflower rice to soak up the sauce. That's amazing. We'll see. Maybe I'll get scallops if I want to go to the grocery store. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it's really hot. How you doing, buddy? Almost. I still have like a couple spots that are, I can't tell if they're a little wet. Actually, I think it's done. It's done. All right, I'm going to turn the heat off. I'm going to move this. Ooh, I can smell all of the ingredients that are in the salsa, the fire roasted peppers and tomatoes, and I can smell the chili powder. I'm going to grab a bowl. I think this is done. Now, if you like to consume dairy, you can definitely top this off with some shredded cheddar, a little sour cream, whatever it is that you like. I'm not going to myself, but that's okay. This is actually done. This cooked pretty nicely. There we go. And see, it's definitely like a casserole. It holds together really nicely. Look at that. All right, let me get my fork. Oh, I just got a spoon, I forgot. Okay. Look at that. And it didn't take that long to do. I'm just kind of like looking through it. Yeah, everything is like nice and cooked. There's that little eggy layer. Let's see how it tastes. It smells amazing. It's very hot though, so I'm like, oof. The nice thing about using salsa in a recipe like this is that it adds extra flavors and seasonings and some jalapenos, extra onions, things that maybe you aren't chopping up yourself. Very hot. It's very good. This is really good. And I can see it's going to be very filling because it's got the cauliflower rice in it. It's delicious. It's very hot, but it's delicious. Wow. Probably needs a little more salt. I know, I always undersalt and then I regret it. Definitely would taste good with some sour cream on top. But this is actually really good. This is delicious. So fresh and so flavorful. Definitely needs a little extra salt, which is fine. I'm just going to salt my own portions privately. Okay. And the egg in it is interesting. Like I said, it doesn't taste eggy, but it has a little bit of texture. It binds everything together, so you don't need like a weird like cream of soup that's in all those typical casseroles. and you don't need cream or anything like that. So it just sets everything together, but it also, there's just a little bit of smoothness and nice texture from the eggs. I'm just gonna mix my salt in. Give it another taste. Much better. So that's it. Those are the two things that I made for lunch today, our Dijon roasted cauliflower and our Tex Mex chicken or beef casserole. Next week, we're gonna make soup. So check for the recipe. I'll put the recipe for that on our website later today or tomorrow, whenever I have some time to type it up. And I'm really looking forward to having that in my fridge for the rest of this week. All right, everyone, that's it for me today. Just remember, there are so many cookbooks available on Libby and on Hoopla. And of course, in the library, if you're not sure what you're looking for, give me a call. Let us know what you're looking for, and I can help find the perfect cookbook for whatever you need. All right, everyone.